We are jumping into the fourth in a year-long series with the Sacred Space Coaching today. Jennifer John is here to help us unpack why our minds are so cluttered and how to recognize it. And this is such a big topic. I'm not going to waste any time in the preamble today. Welcome back to the show, Jennifer. Let's start unpacking this. Why are our minds so cluttered?
Hi, Candace. Thank you so much for having me. There's so many reasons, so many causes of why our minds get cluttered. And with the added stresses of even the pandemic, things that are affecting our personal lives, it can cause these stressors to trigger these stressors in our lives and cause our minds to be, racing through thoughts constantly and not taking time to actually calm down a little bit and assess where are we at with our thinking.
And that's paralyzing, really, when you think about, especially because there is so much going on just outside of our control. We're constantly inundated with, the war in Ukraine and climate change and the pandemic. And then you add in all those personal stressors. It can be a lot to process. So you talk about something called mind management. How do we do that?
Mind management is the how we process our thoughts and using that process to our benefit to help to influence and actually have experience of things that we want to experience, the happiness, the change. We can sometimes get in our own way with our own thinking and sabotage the very things that we want to accomplish. So mind management is that ability that we have. We all have it. We can manage our thought process. It sounds very simple, yes, on the surface, but with consistent effort, we can actually manage our thoughts in a way that influences the outcome that we actually want to have and experience in our lives.
So one of the things you say is that, what you think directly influences how you feel. Now, the problem with that, as I see it, is that what we think is kind of baked into who we are,
Mhm.
really. So we're looking at some pretty big changes. Is there a way to start addressing that? Is it just being aware of what you're thinking?
You know, Awareness creates an opportunity for us to actually experience the change that we want to experience. Because with that awareness, it gives us the ability to say, okay, now I'm aware of this situation. I'm aware that I have a certain thinking pattern. I'm aware that certain events trigger off, these thought processes that I have. Thoughts of feeling unworthy because I see something on, say, on social media, or a word is being said to me and it triggers off that sort of reaction in me. And I start to think I'm not worthy enough. That thought of not feeling worthy enough starts to filtrate into how we feel, into how we behave, and then how we experience something, our perception.
Right. And that perception becomes our reality.
It becomes our reality. And so the more and more that we start to view a certain event or situation a certain way because of the triggers that we have, is the more and more it shapes our perception of it. And that experience and excuse how we see things that are happening to us or things that we are working through or moving through. And so mind management is that ability that enables us to use it to our advantage. Look at the things that are serving us well, the thoughts that are serving us well. Are they positive? Are they empowering? Are they uplifting? And sort of, looking at the ones that are negative and how those negative thoughts are actually keeping us trapped, keeping us in a loop.
So now, most people are thinking about spring cleaning. So now would be
Mhm.
a good time to think about spring cleaning in our heads, right? Let's clean up that mental space. So where do we begin?
You know, Take time to reflect. I'm a big advocate on self-reflection. I think from the beginning of this year, when we started this journey with self-sabotaging, we talked about self-reflection. Take time to self-reflect. Take time to quiet your thoughts, calm your mind, because we're in a space now where we're constantly thinking, and we have to do things, at a fast pace. And doing it at a fast pace is not allowing us to calm our minds, calm those thoughts that are racing through us, and so that we can actually make the decisions and choices that we need to make. And so we can find it easier to do these things if we sort of take some time, create that space to calm our thoughts.
And you talk about observing your thoughts. And this is something
Mhm.
we've talked about in previous episodes, but I think it's
Right.
really worth hammering this point home. What does it look like when you're an observer of your thoughts?
Take time, as I said, create that space, create that time, step back, and sort of examine, analyze the sort of thoughts that are reoccurring in your mind, the thoughts that you're constantly thinking over and over and over. Write it down. Where are these thoughts coming from? What's triggering them? And then when you take a step back and sort of reflect on that, it helps you to see, okay, so when I'm thinking these thoughts, how is that making me feel? Work through those feelings, jot them down. From how is that making me feel to now, how do I react or how do I respond when I'm triggered with these thoughts and I start to feel this way? And so now it's causing me to react or to respond in a certain manner. And that now shows me what my experience will be. So becoming an observer of your own thoughts gives you that opportunity to self-reflect, take a step back, and actually look at your thoughts and where is it really coming from? What's
Now, you
triggering them?
you also talk though about reframing thoughts, and I think this is a crucial point, because oftentimes I think we get caught up in like, well, nobody likes toxic positivity.
Right.
But the reality is you can be in a negative situation and still find a way to reframe it in your mind. So
And
is that, again, it's not saying, oh, this is so awesome, but what does it look like when you try to flip the script a bit?
when you try to flip this, it looks like, is there something positive you can walk away with? Is there something that you've learned? It's caused you to grow in some way, shape, or form? Is it something that has altered your way of thinking concerning this experience or this situation? And is it in a positive way? Because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the positive. We're looking for that diamond in the rough. We're looking for that, that we can walk away with. And yes, the experience may not have been as pleasant as we wanted to. It could have even been to the point where it was traumatic. But is there something that you can actually walk away with and say, this has shaped me in a new way? It has shaped my thought, my perception. I've learned or I've gained something from it. Even if it's one thing, that one thing can help you reframe that situation and reassess it in a light that is more empowering for you.
We're not going to have enough time to get into all of these today. So I want to skip ahead a little bit because,
Right.
and I want people to know that they can actually keep up with you guys over on whatshesaidtalk.com. You guys have a
Right.
blog that complements all these
Yes.
interviews. So we're going to skip ahead just a little bit though, because I want to talk about writing it down. How important is that in the process of moving forward with your life and sort of moving past self-sabotage?
When you think about the amount of thoughts that we entertain in our heads, a day, it's mind blowing the amount of thoughts that we process. And so that's a lot of activity in our brain. And so if you think about it as in downloading those thoughts to paper, sometimes when you do that, it stops some of that activity in your mind, that loop, that cycle that is happening in your mind, and sort of causes you to see it in a more objective manner. And so putting it to paper, downloading from your mind to paper, actually can help you sometimes even solve the situation or certain that you have in your mind, the decision that you wanted to make, the choice that you've been struggling with. Once you see it on paper, sometimes it becomes so much clearer for you. And so I'm a big advocate of writing it down, taking time to do that. That's part of the self-reflection, space and time that we're talking about creating for yourself, where you sort of calm your thoughts and where you can see objectively and write it down. And in doing so, sometimes it is even healing for you to journal, to take things that you have experienced and just put voice to it on paper.
I really, really love this analogy because, you think we upload information all day
All
long.
day long, all
We're
day long,
uploading.
Candace.
So to be able to download
Mhm.
the important things in a day that have, crossed your brain is so crucial. I love that you're really sort of crystallizing what's important in your head, right?
Right. And even the things that trouble you, they're important things. There's the highlights of your day. Then there are the things that cause you to pause, things that sort of like you didn't have that moment, that time to process it because, you're going through your day. There's other demands, there's other stressors that are coming on you. Take time to actually write it out and see, okay, did I respond? It could be a situation that has happened. Did I respond in the right way or did I react? You know, um, things happen so quickly, and sometimes we get caught up in the moment and we don't realize that we're actually reacting to someone else's issues or to someone else's hangups. And so how do we respond? And
All right.
taking time to write that out helps us to see that.
Okay. I love it. So you have a blog post that's going to be up on the website. It's about understanding the power of our thoughts and building that mental resilience. So that's going to be up and available for listeners after the show this week. So Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, you're a breath of fresh air. And we have so much to unpack over the next few months. This is an exciting journey we're on with you. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Candace, for having me.